around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hardest part of the ring. And look, it's 2022. We're heading towards 2023. You guys might have thought you were out of lockdown, but yeah, it's fucking terrible. Lockdown 2006, TNA. That's what we're talking about today, all right? But yeah, I mean, lots going on with this show. You might be wondering, you might be a first-time listener. You're like, hardest part of the ring, why are you covering this show? And me myself, I mean, personally, I'm steady trying to find the motive. You know, why I do what I do. Right? You know, the freedom ain't getting no closer, no matter how far I go. So, that's just kind of my take on it. But yes, Lockdown 2006. Lots going on this show. You got, obviously, every match is, it takes place in the 6 sides of steel. This is the second lockdown of TNA's history. You might remember their 2005 edition, which is known for, unfortunately, Chris Candido's last match. Not a lot else happened. I mean, the Abyss AJ Styles match is a classic. Otherwise, the first lockdown was kind of a dud. And we kind of talk about in the podcast some changes they made, but also some changes that they probably should have made, you know, in response to how the first years went. But we get into all that, but a lot of good stuff. Blanket statement here. This lockdown, way better than 2005. And for a variety of reasons. I mean, you just look at the card. We got Samoa Joe versus Sabu, which is a crazy match that doesn't feel like happened, but it did, inside a cage. You got some World Cup matches, some international flavor to this show. We're in the midst of TNA's World Cup tournament here, and you get a little preview of that, and some Japanese names pop up that you might recognize, some young boy versions of some very prominent New Japan wrestlers. You got up top, you got Christian versus Abyss. Christian defending the NWA World Title, and the feud and the build up to this match. I mean, the match is great, but the build up is actually insane. If you're not familiar with this feud, trust me, you're gonna want to hear about it. People getting drowned in pools and people's hair getting sniffed. Just a little tease right there, just a little taste of what you'll get into. We also get the debut of Lethal Lockdown, which is the traditional cage match. It's a war game style match, but then the roof drops down. There's weapons, there's bats, there's dildos. So a lot of that happening. So that the debut of Lethal Lockdown. Also, we get a few debuts and returns of certain performers. Most notably, of course, finally debuting to TNA. Everyone's been awaiting it. You listening, you're like, man, hardest part of the ring. Can you just get to the part where this person debuts? Like, nothing else really matters until they get there. Of course, I'm talking about Christy Hemme, making her debut on this show. You also got Low Key coming back, and Raven pops up and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it's fine. Yeah, this show is full of your TNA-isms that you love to hear about. Lots to get into. But first, let me go ahead and give a shout out to my guest on this episode, Vince from the Straight Talk podcast, Smackin' It Raw podcast, Spit or Swallow. I think he has a Chatterbait channel as well. He has a lot of irons in the fire, this Vicente Delgado. But go check out Vince. You might know him from the Smackin' It Raw. I've had the Smackin' It Raw folks on this podcast before. Matt Ritter, Katie Kinsey Bay. Now we got the Holy Trinity are now apron bumpers. They could put that on their resume. But yes, go check out Vince, SCS Vince on the social medias, all the various podcasts that Vince is affiliated with in the description below. As always, go check him out. He's a good boy. Go check out all those podcasts. They cover Smackin' It Raw, of course. They do kind of like a weekly roundup of wrestling, but in a very entertaining and erotic fashion. You got Straight Talk. Vince talks a lot about the hoops. The hoopers, like the Space Jam and all that. And talks wrestling on there as well. And then you got Spit or Swallow, which is also under the Creatia World banner, along with Smackin' It Raw. They do reviews of pay-per-views and stuff like that. So go check out all the entertaining shows. Vince is a sweet, sweet, delicious boy. And yeah, if you like this type of episode, by the way, you're like, well, gosh darn, I don't really listen to a lot of TNA reviews from back in the day. Well, I got you covered. Go to apronbump.com. You can find all my full episodes there, as long as all my social medias, all the merch. But you can also go to the episodes tab at the top, and you can select any era or promotion that tickles your fancy. You can select TNA, and that'll bring you to all of my TNA reviews that I've done thus far, starting all the way from their first 3-hour pay-per-view, Victory Road, 2004. Chronologically worked my way up until now, Lockdown 06. So go do that. Follow me on everything, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that stuff. Do it. I'll wait. You done? All right. Let's get to it. TNA Lockdown 2006 with myself and the Pornhub Poppy himself, Vince from Smackin' It Raw, Straight Talk, and like from before. You remember all this stuff that I mentioned? He's from all those things.
But it also reminds me that I suck on a daily basis.
Well, who gave it to you is the question.
Well, I bought it myself.
Man,
so it was a gift to myself. It was from one of those WWE Slam crates.
Oh,
the ones that
okay.
Yeah. So I didn't intentionally buy it with the idea, let me go buy myself a mug that tells me on a daily basis that I suck. But it was a gift from the world, essentially.
So it was fate. Fate and Mother Nature told you that you suck. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's good to know.
It's not enough that you have
humbling.
Your co-host on your podcast do enough bullying of you, and it's like, oh, I'm off the podcast now. I can just enjoy my life. Oh, here's a "you suck" mug. Just from the world. That's good. That's what you always want to hear.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, I look forward to it every morning.
If you set the bar low, you can only go up from there.
Exactly. There you go. You get me.
I'm recording, by the way, just so you know.
Yes.
There's a countdown. Just want to let you know in case you were going on a racial tirade anytime soon.
Oh, no. I've stopped those in my youth.
Yeah. About a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, right before I hit 30. So that was like June. So I've been a few months clean. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, your 20s that's what your 20s are for, is working out the kinks and the chinks. But speaking of which, we got Lockdown.
Yes.
A lot of nationality warfare on this show. So you got a chance to check out Lockdown?
Yeah, it was a pretty good show. It was the first actual Impact / TNA show that I've watched since
Really?
Bound for Glory here in Chicago. Like, who knows how long ago? Right before the pandemic.
Oh, okay. So
So
were you watching like during the TNA days?
sporadically here and there. So
Mm.
like I knew some of these like wrestlers and characters, and like it was a thing. So I knew Eric Young and Robert Roode were like part of Team Canada with
Mhm.
Petey Williams. So I knew some of that. It's just it's jarring and weird to see Eric Young as a blonde, you know?
Oh, I mean, with hair in general,
Yeah, with
right?
hair as a blonde, man. Like that's just so weird.
Yeah.
Like but no, it was a good show. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. They really locked me down for the whole show.
I mean, that's that's what you're paying to see. So they didn't lie, I guess.
I will say I went ahead and paid for a YouTube Premium just because I got tired of like the ads throughout the
Bro.
pay-per-view.
So I almost watched it on YouTube, but I was like, oh god damn, I'm gonna have ads and stuff. So actually, I do have Impact Plus,
Right.
mainly because I watch like all the impacts and stuff in between. So at
hmm
least I think I get my bang for my buck as far as that goes. But no ads, thankfully, on that. But yeah, I don't blame you. I got no time for ads nowadays.
No. Honestly, no. But the YouTube system was very fantastic when it came to like matches. Like you can actually went ahead and go and pick a certain match. So I was more interested in like the Joe Sabu match. So I didn't watch the pay-per-view in order. I just went straight to the Sabu Joe match. And then I'm like, let me start the pay-per-view from the beginning.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. Start off. I don't know if that's hot. I mean, looking at the card, I'm trying to figure out where that ranks among all the matches. I mean, I would say, like you said, I think the show in general is really good.
hmm
This is only the second lockdown pay per view they've done, and they've worked out a few issues that they had in the first one. But I guess to start off, what do you think about the general concept of lockdown? Every match in a cage.
So it's cool in theory because, and it's funny enough because I've actually had like that kind of pay-per-view concept in like my universe mode in WWE like
Right.
2K whatever. And in concept it sounds fun because it's like it's just a bunch of cage matches. This is cool. But after a certain time, like after a certain match, it just kind of gets redundant, and I feel like once you get to the main event, once you get to like the NWA World Title match with Christian and Abyss, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I've already seen this exact cage match like 5 times already, and
Mhm.
with a bunch of different people. Like it loses its like seriousness, I guess. I'm not sure what vocabulary I was like, what word in my vocabulary I'm trying
Yes,
to.
it's not as special by the time you get to
Yes,
the main event.
yes. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you spend all day, you know, just like having anal, and then
As you
at
do.
the end of the evening, you're with your significant other. It's like, hey, let's try anal. I'm like, well, I've already tried anal with a bunch of different partners all
Yeah.
evening, you know. So by the time your significant other wants to try it, it's like, okay, we'll do it, but it's like I've already done it.
You're not into it. Is what you're
Yeah, I mean,
saying,
I'm
yeah.
still into it, just not as much. Like, it's not as
Yeah.
exciting, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean that with porn, I feel like that's a legit thing. You know, you're watching all this Pornhub stuff with pissing and anal beads and prolapsed assholes, and then you go and have missionary with your gal, and it's like, man, it's not what I paid for. You know,
No, not whatsoever.
it's hard to get rock solid when there's no black, 12-foot schlong fucking your girl in front of you. So,
There you go.
but you know,
This is how kinks start. You start
Is it?
looking for other avenues to like.
yeah, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You
Yeah,
gotta do
man.
it. But speaking of kinks, so we got speaking of black, actually, so one of the issues from 2005. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
Okay.
I guess first of all, let me ask you this: have you seen a cage match or anything cage like live?
I'm trying to. Yeah, actually, I think the last cage style match was War Games Chicago here. When it was the last one they did here, the last War Games.
Mhm.
But yeah, I saw War Games here.
Nice.
I've never seen a Hell in a Cell match, but I've seen steel cage matches before.
Yeah. I actually just saw my first cage match recently. It was the Lashley Omos match that was on Raw a few weeks ago.
So you went to that. You enjoyed that masterpiece of a 5-star classic.
Oh, man, I remember every second of it. Let me tell you, it's going to be ingrained in my mind forever.
I mean, Black Schlongs, right there. You got two of the biggest ones probably in the locker room.
Man. For some reason, Lashley doesn't strike me as a guy with a huge, definitely bigger than mine. But as far as that genre, I don't know if he's the top BBC on the roster.
Who do you think is top BBC on the roster?
I mean, Omos has definitely got to be up there. I mean, he's tall and kind of lanky. Just his face. When you see a guy's face and you're like, that guy's a big piece.
Yeah. But does he know how to use it? Sometimes guys can have a big piece, but it's too much of a piece for them to use. The overwhelming sheer force and mass of it all, it's like they just go hammer it down, Or so I've been told. I would not have.
Hey, don't be humble. We all know you're packing. We all know it. They don't call you Daddy Delgado for nothing.
I mean, they got to call me that for some reason. I'm trying to get them to call me Pornhub Poppy permanently, but apparently I have to fight for that honor.
Yeah. Can't let Katie have a bigger penis than you, dude.
Yeah, I can't let Katie have a bigger penis than me. I mean, I think the only fair way is just whip it out and just start measuring. Have Matt get the measuring tape and just measuring all the centimeters and everything. Make sure we actually figure that out.
Yeah,
all the centimeters, down to the very last one. In terms of the biggest BBC in the locker room,
I think that's got to be. Who else is there?
Well, there's Sheldon Benjamin. There's Cedric Alexander. There's the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm. Montez.
My money's on R-Truth. I feel like R-Truth's got a hammer.
His probably smells great. I don't know why, but that's the first thought that I.
I mean, it stood the test of time.
Everything else has, so.
Exactly. So imagine the A1 quality of that schlong.
Well, A1 was on this show and it wasn't very quality, but I see what your point is.
Yes.
So was R-Truth actually. But my point was before, now I'm just thinking of BBC's the entire time, but
yeah.
In 2005, the cage was silver, just a regular metal. And I think that really made it less visible. It just made it kind of hard to see for the live crowd. And I think the energy suffered in 2005 because of that. And I noticed in this show, the cage is now black. You can almost not see it. You can see the bars, but you can't really see the mesh if it's at the right angle. So I think that definitely helped the show. And that's why I was asking, if you've seen any cage matches live, had you ever seen any, or had you ever had any issues with visibility in watching a cage match?
Sometimes yes, because WWE usually does go with that silver steel colored style cage, and oftentimes I did find myself looking at the Titantron, the giant Tron, in the middle, and you're just trying to watch some of it, but I was high enough so I can see above inside the cage, so that helps too.
Nice.
So it's all about perspective. That's why I didn't want to go to Hell in a Cell when it was here in Chicago, because I knew it was going to be that ginormous, bright, red-ass
that's
cage.
gotta be brutal.
I am not trying to experience that. That's my whole thing. I'm not trying to experience how that would be.
Yeah. But so we open the show up. Of course, every match is a cage match, and this one's no different. We got a 6-man tag team match. So we are amidst the World X Cup season. So is where you're going to see a lot of international flavor on these shows, and this is kind of a preview of it, I guess. So we got Team Japan versus Team America. Japan is represented by Black Tiger, Minoru Tanaka, and Hiroki Goto. Versus
that was a treat to see young boy Goto. Oh my god!
I couldn't tell it was him until he started walking. He has a distinct walk, I guess, and he today he carries around that, it's not a staff, but it's something he carries around and he walks with it. And in this case, he had the Japanese flag, so it's oh yeah, I could definitely see him.
So it all lined up, you got your detective skills going,
Yeah, I tried.
When I saw Minoru, on the match card, I thought it was Minoru Suzuki.
I thought the same thing. I was
oh, that's so cool. And I'm that's not the Minoru I thought they were giving me. But he was a good Minoru. I've never heard of him. but he was good.
Yeah, I guess he was big in like All Japan and Noah, and he kind of bounced around. I think he still wrestles from time to time, but I think all these guys do really. Yeah, I think everyone in this match still wrestles
Black
at least
Tiger?
occasionally. Do you know who Black Tiger is?
Eddie Guerrero? No, that's Tiger Mask. No,
No, Eddie Guerrero was Black Tiger. This in this match right here, this is the 4th Black Tiger. I think Eddie was like 2 or 3 or something.
So when I was listening to commentary, I thought it was the same wrestler, but apparently Black Tiger is like the nemesis of Tiger Mask.
Right.
And that's who Eddie was Tiger Mask, I think.
Are you sure? I think.
No, he was Black Tiger. He was Black Tiger. You're right.
I'm pretty sure
confused
Black
them.
Tiger.
But I confuse them. It's kind of like the Crimson Chin and the Nega Chin. They're like so similar.
Mega Chin. Who the hell's a Mega Chin?
The Nega Chin. Like negative.
Yeah, easy.
As in Tessa
He is Black Tiger, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Man, this is my last episode, I think. But Black Tiger here, it's actually Rocky Romero. So
no way.
A future best friend here in Rocky or Roppongi
Oh my
Vice.
god. No wonder that match was fantastic. I love me some Rocky.
Oh, he's the best, man. Yeah, with Goto and Tanaka in there, definitely a good little dollop of Japanese wrestling. And the U.S. side of the coin, also very talented. We got Alex Shelley, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt. So I feel like we've seen like most of these guys on AEW in the past couple months.
We have. This is actually my very first Sanjay Dutt match. I've never actually seen the man wrestle.
Really?
Or if he has, I just was never paying attention.
What were your
to
thoughts? What were your thoughts on the Dutt?
He wasn't a dud. He was all right in the ring. He was solid. Alex Shelley was the one that really stood out for me on Team USA side, but I was more impressed with Team Japan for obvious reasons.
No,
they just had more character.
Yeah, it was definitely like because it wasn't like a super long match. It was just an opening match, but I think everybody had their opportunity. I think the Team USA side, they had a lot of good like double team moves. Like there's one point where like Jay Lethal has one of the guys up in like a wheelbarrow position, and then Shelley hits a lung blower, and then Dutt comes off with a moonsault as they're both holding him. So like little stuff like that was fun to see. And then obviously like the Japanese side, that Minoru, like you, I didn't really know who he was, but some of these kicks this guy was throwing were nasty.
Jesus.
So and of course babyface Goto with I don't even know if he had facial hair. He was definitely came out with the young boy gear.
He had as much facial hair as I'm able to muster in my 30 years of existence. He probably had like slightly more, like his mustache was barely coming in like mine was. Yeah.
We all go there, man. Yeah. But Goto with his black trunks, black boots, short hair. Because now he has like the really intricate shorts and the boots and the jacket and all that stuff. He's just a guy, but you could definitely see
he didn't have any virtual currency to go get himself some wrestling gear or like entrance music like that to me just like the whole concept of like just keeping the New Japan Young Boys or like all like just in black gear.
You gotta earn
it's
your
just
gear.
Very
man.
interesting to me. Wait, what?
I said you got to earn your gear, man. Yeah, like you said, you got to get that VC.
Yeah, you got to get that VC. So that's pretty funny to me. But this was part of his excursion, which was great to like be a part of. You know, like this is like he was. They mentioned it on commentary. It's like he's on excursion right now from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I like that concept of New Japan, where like they introduce him as a young boy. You get to know them. You get to know that they're a solid wrestler. Then they send them off. I'm like, go on and explore the world. Kind of like when they go off to college. They come back. They're a completely different man, different individual. So I love that aspect of it. You know, without that whole excursion like concept and whatchamacallit. Yeah. And in New Japan, we wouldn't have gotten like Naito doing like the whole tranquilo shit if he didn't go to like go to Mexico and like team up with Andrade and Rush.
Yeah, and I think this time period you got like I think Okada comes in at some point. It might even be soon after this.
But wasn't he like the green cricket or something?
That sounds like a slur. So I'm not gonna confirm.
No, he was like this mat. He had like a mask on. And he was like the green like
He might have
cricket
been.
or like the
know.
grasshopper or like
I hope so.
something like that. Like he like we gotta Google that. I'll Google that real quick.
Please, the people have to know. But yeah, it was a fun match here. You got a lot of fast-paced action. There's one point where like everybody on Team USA, like Shelly goes up for a frog splash, and then Jay Lethal hits a German for a 2 count, and then Sanjay Dutt follows up with a standing shooting star for a 2 count. So they got a lot of offense in a short amount of time, and then Japan was being Japan, as you know, and they ultimately win because an underlying story here, because Alex Shelley is a heel at this point. He's kind of in cahoots with Jeff Jarrett and that whole faction, but he was cooperating with Lethal and Dutt throughout this match until the end, where Shelley goes for a super kick on one of the guys, I think Black Tiger, but he ducks, and Shelley accidentally super kicks Dutt, and then a Tiger suplex from Black Tiger to Jay Lethal gets the win for Team Japan. So Japan gets the win here, and yeah, any other thoughts on this one?
Yeah, shout out to Team Mexico for coming in and being the sexy distraction of the match.
Ooh, yeah, we got you're right. Team Mexico comes out, I guess, to scout both these teams, and currently the team.
I had no idea who any of those wrestlers were.
You don't know who Shocker is?
Wait, Shocker was there?
From the McDonald's commercial. You don't know him?
No.
No, neither does anybody else. Don't worry. They made such a big. So Shocker they tried to make him a big deal like a year before this. He debuted. They did the whole thing where he comes in a mask, and then he dramatically unmasks, and then he's like in the middle of the ring, and everybody's like, "The fuck is this guy?" And then they tried like putting him in title matches, but nobody cared. So now he's a heel, I guess, a handsome heel leading Team Mexico. So and I think he has Puma and Magno with him. We see Puma later in the show, so I'm a little bit familiar with him. I'm not sure of the Magno.
No.
Sounds like an edible condom to me, but
an edible condom. You would know, right? Is that on your lines of expertise?
Yeah, I mean, it saves trash space if you just consume it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. So Team Mexico, if you, I don't know, say today you had to put together a Team Mexico, who do you think you would put together?
Okay. Well, my question to you is like, where's my draft pool from? Can I draft from anywhere in the world, or can I just like, does it have to be from TNA right now, or Impact?
No, I don't even know if they have any Mexicans over there. Yeah, anywhere in the world.
I'm sure Hernandez is on there. I'm sure Hernandez is on there.
He pops it every couple of months. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But do you want Hernandez on your team? 2022 Hernandez.
He still looks like a cool guy. He looks like a cool Mexican uncle that'll give you a beer when your dad's not looking.
He's definitely the most jacked guy at the barbecue, Hernandez.
Yes. Supermax, man. Supermax Hernandez. Yeah.
I can't do the whistle thing.
Yeah, I can't do it either. So it's okay. Not Mexican, so like that should make you feel better. Like I can't do the Mexican whistle. But yeah, we're just from anywhere in general. Like
anywhere.
Okay. Well, how many members do I get? Like 3 or 4?
3 or 4, depending on how many you want.
Okay. Well, I feel like let me take a little bit from. Let me start with AEW, and I feel like I had to go ahead and scoop up the Lucha Brothers. So they're coming with me. At least Penta for now. I gotta get Rey Mysterio. It can't be Team Mexico without Rey Mysterio, regardless of how much other people may question his abilities as a father. As a professional wrestler, he's very solid. He has experience as a tag team wrestler as well. So I'm taking Penta, I'm taking Rey Mysterio, and I'm gonna go ahead and take
Dominic.
Give me Andrade. Give me Andrade as well.
You don't want the Dominic of the Judgment Day?
No, I don't want to separate him from your Ripley. You know, they have such a close
point,
bond.
Actually. Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Way. And then last but not least, I think the 4th spot's has got to go to Sin Cara. I mean, like
man, I was expecting Legato. Who else? That's about it, right? I think it's all of them.
It's Angel Garza. Okay. So
you already picked Sin Cara. You can't go back.
No, I'm not going back.
He's your fall guy.
It's Singata. That's why I picked Singata. He's my Chase Owens. He's my fall guy.
He's your Chase Owens.
He's my Chase Owens.
That's
you need that on your team. So I'm not trying to make the team overpowered. I'm trying to actually like make it balanced.
Yeah.
So like I'm allowing the booker if he needs to like have Team Mexico put someone over.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be Singata taking the pin.
Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean I'm Filipino, so like, what I have TJP and Shotzi Blackheart, Batista.
Shotzi Blackheart, Batista. You don't have to take TJP if you don't want to. He's controversial.
Yeah, but like, who else is there? You know, like, call in if you have another Filipino.
Where's Justin?
Where's Justin? You know what?
Justin?
I'll add Justin to my team.
There you go. One. You know what? Just make the Getcho podcast your team Filipino.
Charlie could be our Mr. Fuji of the Filipino team.
Yes. Okay. So you get Garn, Charlie, Justin, and Batista, and you call it a day.
There we go.
Or you substitute Garn with Shotzi, and then
this is like when Doink had a Survivor Series team, and it was just 4 miniature Doinks as his team. That's kind of like the vibe we got going here. But
I love it. I'm all for it.
Every once in a while, you just pick up a "you suck," and I get a little mad for a second. But we got Team 3D backstage with Jeremy Borash, and later in the show, they have a anthem match, a capture the flag anthem match against Team Canada, and they're cutting this promo. They're going off because like they had been attacked by Team Canada on Impact and buried in their Canadian flag, and Bubba's going off. He's like, I'd rather go back to that miserable company in Stamford than listen to the Canadian anthem. So, very subtle.
I took offense to that because I'm a fan of the Canadian national anthem. I think it's very beautiful. It's majestic. I have nothing to say about my Canadian brothers because they're fantastic people. Americans suck, though. So I was on Team Canada's side. Also, I'm Mexican. So like, just because I reside in the United States does not necessarily mean I side with the American squad at all times. It just really depends on who's on the team. And because I don't fuck with Team 3D, mostly Bubba or a bully, I love Reverend Devon though. Reverend Devon can do no wrong.
Oh, of course.
He's the only religious figure that I trust with children. And
that's a very specific criteria. How'd you know my next question?
It's twin telepathy, you know, like because I always tell Justin that since he's Filipino as well, I always say that he's Latino adjacent or he's Mexican adjacent. Yeah. So I like to believe you're also Latino adjacent, Kyle.
Yeah, we're basically the Mexicans of Asia.
Yeah, exactly. And we're the Mexicans of Mexico.
Some say that.
Some say that.
To be debatable.
To each his own. You know, everyone has their own opinions.
But speaking of vague nationalities, so we got Christopher Daniels in this next match against a mystery opponent. Yeah. Who's his opponent, Vicente?
Caval. Wait, no. Loki. No, wait. Senshi.
No, I think Michelle McCool and Layla were out here with him, so it must be Caval.
It must
I forget Caval is a thing. It's crazy to me that he was in WWE.
I never forget Caval because I thought it was like the funniest thing ever. This dude's trying to be like this serious, tough, badass dude, and he's out here with Lay Cool and shit.
Coming out to their music. You're not enough for me.
I would say that was the best theme song he's ever had in his career.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than the stock Japanese music that they threw for his theme song. But yeah, Senshi here, returning to TNA. He's been gone for a few years, but now he's back with a different name. And they at least acknowledge that it's Loki. They're not pretending like it's a completely different guy, which is fun.
They try to give an explanation for the name change. It wasn't a good one, but...
Well, I mean, to your point, like he went off to Japan, kind of developed a style over there. Now he's back with a Japanese name. Senshi is Japanese for warrior, apparently. So they at least tried to have some cohesion there.
Which one is worse? Loki going to Japan and saying, like, I have Japanese warrior in me, so call me Senshi. Or Prince Albert going to New Japan and coming back as Lord Tenzai.
Well, Senshi
who did it worse?
Senshi doesn't have the Hakushi Japanese tattoos on his face here, so
but it made him like such a badass
until he became Sweet Tea.
I like Sweet Tea though. It showed me that he had a softer side. He's not just a menacing like figure that just pounds you in the ring. You know, he's willing to seduce you in a sexy lingerie.
Can you not seduce and pound at the same time?
That's true, but sometimes you want to seduce into the pounding.
Wise words.
Yeah. I'm all about foreplay, as it's been confirmed to be canon on the Smackin' Raw podcast.
I mean, you do foreplay while you're on air, as I've heard. So
I cannot confirm nor deny that. You're just gonna have to tune in on the stream every Friday.
that's a sell. That's how you sell a podcast. Will Vince get jerked off? Will he not? What lotion will he use?
Find out in the next exciting episode of Smackin' Raw.
The wonderful.
podcast.
It's on brand, if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, it's not, because it's not raw. It's with lotion. Does lotion make it not raw? That's the question.
Remind me to ask Matt. I have to ask Matt. I have to put on the notes. So, like, does lotion make it not raw?
He's probably listening. Hey, Matt, does lotion make it not raw? Okay. But speaking of raw, speaking of lotion, speaking of pounding, we got Senshi versus Christopher Daniels, former Triple X partners. Yeah, I mean, this all just ties together, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Loki, I guess he was X Division champion, like in the early days, tag team champion with Christopher Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
So they got some backstory here with each other, and the match itself was good. You got Senshi out here with his patented, his kicks, his Mongolian chops, the double stomps. He would go and then stomp his opponent. It was crazy. Anything else stick out to you in this match?
Yeah. I was very disappointed that Senshi didn't come out in a full-on suit to wrestle. Like, I thought that was like his best gear choice. Like, really make him feel like he's like a Street Fighter character. Like, because I feel like that's what Senshi went for in his entire wrestling career. It's like, I'm a Street Fighter character. Or what's that other fighting game? I forgot what it's called. It's not Mortal Kombat. It's
Tekken.
Tekken, yeah, there you go. He's trying to be a Tekken character.
Yeah, he's one come to life.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So like, I'm disappointed we didn't see him in in a smashing suit. Like very dap.
Yeah, I'll settle for the Nike shorts or whatever the hell. Probably Champion shorts.
Yeah. Champion shirt. I almost wore a Champion hoodie, but I'm like, no.
Man, now I'm disappointed.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll wear it on Friday. Just tune into the live stream.
Man.
And then I'll take it off.
Can't miss. Finally. How many times I gotta ask?
Yeah, but I'll have a shirt underneath. So it's still a teaser.
Oh, okay.
Still not the full thing. Yeah. You can't just give it away.
That's why you gotta keep listening. Yeah. Long-term storytelling.
Yeah, you gotta build it up. It's a crescendo.
Crescendo Daniels. So in this match here, they finally used the cage. I feel like the first match they didn't really use the cage at all.
No.
But I guess, you got to kind of spread it out. You can't have everybody doing the cheese grater spot on the cage. I guess to that point, we were kind of talking about it earlier. I think they did an okay job at like not being too redundant with the spots for the most part, I think. But at one point, they're both like on the top rope fighting. Christopher Daniels goes for an angel's wings off the top rope. But Loki or Senshi fights out, goes for a double stomp off the top rope, but misses. Daniels hits a flatliner, and then goes for the Angel's wings again. But Loki counters it, backdrops him into a pin with the arms hooked, and puts his feet on the ropes, and that gives Senshi the win. So winning on his return match here, and
fantastic,
good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anything else on this one?
No, it just I was just interested to know that they actually had history together as a team. So I will say that up until this point, the commentary team had done a great job of like letting me know the significance of this match, and even prior to like in the 6-man tag match, the feud or like infighting between Alex Shelley and the rest of his team. So like, even though I didn't know anything of the story going into any of these matches, the commentary team did a fantastic job of trying to paint a picture as to why this match is happening and why the intensity from Senshi, aside from his normal just always being intense in the ring, but there was some meaning behind it this time. So I liked it. It was a good match. I'm not a big Christopher Daniels guy, so like I'm not like over the moon. I think like my favorite match of his was against Stephen Amell at All Out. I mean, All In. I think that was
forgot that
like
happened.
yeah, yeah. I was there live. You know, it was the best match of his entire career.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
so it was a good match. It was a good match. He still looks like a porn star to me. So Christopher Daniels
Christopher Daniels?
he's always looks like a porn star to me. Like
I mean, I guess he's got kind of Johnny Sins vibes to him a little bit, I guess.
it's like the eyeliner and then like the tattoo. It just makes him feel like he failed at his go-to profession, and he's like, let me just stick my dick in people and make money out of it.
I mean, nowadays that's a pretty foolproof way to go about it.
Yeah, so he was ahead of the curve. He was
So to
a
speak.
trailblazer. He was a trendsetter.
He was yeah, so you're saying this tattoo is like a target of
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah.
I get it. Speaking of cum shots, we got an arm wrestling match up next in a steel cage arm wrestling match
Oh my god. Fantastic.
between Conan and Bullet Bob Armstrong. So this James Gang, aka the New Age Outlaws versus LAX feud continues, and Daddy Ass is here
Yes.
giving out lashes. So the winner or the loser of this arm wrestling match has to get 10 lashes. I guess the whole group does. And I would go into the backstory here, but I think the reggae video package that they did before this match kind of explained it pretty well, huh?
Yeah. Fantastic job by Impact Wrestling or TNA.
Yeah. They're playing right toward your strengths, right?
Yeah, exactly. When they were saying 10 lashes, I don't know how, like, if you'll get the reference, but to me, all I kept thinking about was like that one episode of SpongeBob. I was like, and he's like, 100 lashes. And it's just like it zooms into like a cutaway picture of like SpongeBob with 100 lashes, like eyelashes. So, and then he's just like flipping his eyes back and forth with 100 lashes. I think it was Patrick actually. And then that's all I could think about. I'm like, 10 lashes. So he's going to get like 10 lashes. Like,
I thought you were going to talk about the hash slinging slasher.
oh, no. He comes towards the end. Like he has a whole stare down with Abyss.
Oh, right. I must have missed that part. I must have done the old plus 15 seconds on that one. But
oh, yeah. It's exclusive to the YouTube version.
I better go back and check that out then.
Yes, exactly.
But no slasher here, but we do have Hernandez finally debuting here because LAX, I don't know if you're aware, they've gone through a bunch of iterations. First, it was Conan, Homicide, and Apollo. Then
Cruz?
they kicked out Apollo. Who? Cruz, not Cruz, just Apollo.
Oh, okay.
Not Creed, not the spaceship, just a regular Puerto Rican.
Just regular Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Then they kicked him out and brought in Machete, not Danny Trejo, just another
See,
guy.
that's disappointing.
If it was Danny Trejo, it would have been awesome, but it wasn't.
Yeah. That's why
Unfortunately.
LAX never succeeded.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. But Machete suffered a few too many L's, so Homicide and Conan beat him up with the Mad Ball, which I think like Proud and Powerful still use to this day. Future members of LAX, and brought in Hernandez. So, and this is the group that sticks around for a while. This is in my mind the OG LAX for sure. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I like them. Like I said, I've always, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I've always been a fan of Hernandez. He's not like the best wrestler in the ring, but he to me looks like the Mexican John Cena. Like,
Yeah,
he has the shorts, like he's got like the jacked muscles. He seems like such a sweet man. He's a sweet individual, like outside the ring. Like I feel like he'd give you flowers like sporadically throughout the week. He's like, here's just like some random flowers because I thought about you, or like randomly buys you some new shoes, or it's like here's a new watch. Like I feel like he's a very like detailed and like passionate.
do I need to give you a second alone to kind of just with these thoughts. I feel like I'm intruding on something.
No, I'm just a fan of Hernandez, man. No, but yeah, so I liked it. Homicide is a really good wrestler. I like Conan being involved with it. I like you. I think of them as the OGs of LAX, especially since when they did the feud of I think it was Eddie Kingston with the OGs fighting against Pride and Powerful and Conan. Like that was the recent like feud they had going on. Like I think a year or two ago, like right before Pride and Powerful joined AEW and AEW became a thing.
Okay, yeah.
So they actually had the feud, and they were called the OGs with like a Z at the end. You know, just
that's cool.
Yeah,
another
so
gangster.
Like, yeah, it was not gangster to see them take whips from Daddy Ass though.
Well, you're spoiling the arm wrestling match.
Sorry. I got a little ahead of myself. I jumped.
Got to do this play-by-play here. Jump the gun, huh? Really gun. But so we got Bullet Bob here. It's like 60-something years old. They have an arm wrestling table set up in the middle of the ring, set up in the middle of the 6 sides of steel. They, by the way, this is a rematch. They already did this on Impact, but they're like, you know what? That was money. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I mean, AEW just did it with their world title match. Why not with the arm wrestling?
That's
match?
actually a really good comparison. Yeah, I think it's apples to apples there. So Conan, Bob, they lock up. Conan tries to pull away. He wants none of this old man. He's strong. He's military strong here. And Conan gets the better of him, but Bullet Bob makes that comeback, slams Conan's hand on the thing. I don't know what you call it, the pillow, the pad. And Bullet Bob gets the win. Homicide's pissed. He flips the table. But to no avail because LAX now will get 10 lashes. And Road Dogg says if they don't get these lashes, they're suspended indefinitely without pay. So they all assume the position. BG James is just shit talking as he's in between each slash. By the way, all 3 of them, like there's 3 belts.
Yeah.
Triple slashes and lashes, whatever. And then on like the 4th one, Kip James jumps the gun and he like does it before they count to 3. And then they're like, oh, I don't know. And they just start piling it on, just lash after lash. Mike today, I think, calls it leather justice. Sounds like a porn star, but yeah, good stuff, right?
Too. We can Google that. Leather justice. See if that's
I'll pretend like it's not in your bookmarks.
If it's not now, it will be after this Google search.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
How many stars do you give this one?
I'll give it like 7.5 stars.
Yeah. There weren't any Japanese people in this one though, so the Tokyo Dome.
No, but there were like just like Dave Meltzer. I have my biases. There's some Mexicans in this, so anything with a Mexican gets an automatic 5-star.
Actually, yeah. No, now that you mentioned that.
Also, too, I think my favorite whole thing of this whole thing was BG James accidentally calling Daddy Ass Billy. Like, damn it, Billy, you jumped the gun. Or like, I think that's what, like he called him Billy like once or twice. And it's like, he's so used to calling him Billy. That shit was hilarious to me. Like, so to me, like he broke character. He, and which is what I enjoyed the most, honestly.
I mean, this Kip James, Billy Gunn, he's gone through like 12 name changes in TNA at this point. So
Daddy Ass is the best one in his whole career. He should just be called Daddy Ass. But I think he had to like go ahead and procreate first to be referred to Daddy Ass.
Oh, I mean, you haven't procreated, right? But you're still a daddy.
That I know of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, didn't think about that one. Speaking of daddy, got a couple daddies in this match. So we got an X-Scape steel cage match, not an escape. An X-Scape match. So we got the X Division on showcase here, and the winner I think gets a title match or something. Got Petey Williams versus Elix Skipper versus Chris Sabin versus Shark Boy versus Chase Stevens versus Puma. Man, oh man, what a cast of characters here.
My God.
Who stuck out to you? Who stuck out to you in this match?
Well, for me personally, it was
Don't say Puma because he's Mexican.
No. Puma, I saw him earlier, so he didn't really stick out. To me, it was Shark Boy. And I was more disappointed that we didn't see Lava Girl accompany him to the ring. So there's a disappointment there. Also, I just like Shark Boy because when he went through his like phase in Impact Wrestling where he was basically like a Stone Cold parody, and then like
yeah,
Shell, yeah. And then like he did a really good Stone Cold impression when he was like on the mic, and then like if you fast forward, he did like afterwards he had like this like Thor post Endgame midlife crisis thing where he like let himself go. It was just eating in the bag. So I love me some Shark Boy, man. Like the fact that became a character that stuck the test of time, fantastic to me. So Shark Boy stood out to me. I'm not Petey Williams, just because like I said, oh Canada, you know.
right.
I don't know the actual anthem, so I can't actually like
That's pretty much
reference it. Yeah, oh Canada. But I like Petey Williams, man. He gave us a Canadian destroyer that everybody overuses nowadays.
Ooh.
And yeah,
We gave it to your boy Shark Boy, so you couldn't have
yeah.
been happy about that.
You know, sometimes shit happens, man. You know, sometimes shit happens. You know, I wasn't happy that it happened to Shark Boy, but I like to think it made him a stronger man.
Do you think that knocked the Stone Cold into him?
I think so, because if you remember, it took Steve Austin to take a pile driver, and then he really took off. He took a pile driver from Owen Hart, and then he really took off. So I think there was some parallels right there in the careers.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's really good analysis there, actually.
Oh, thank you, man.
It all lines up. It all lines up.
No worries. I took a pile driver as well right before recording this, which allowed me like open up my horizons,
so to speak.
Mind. Yeah.
So I hear you.
Matt's gonna hear that whole like line, and he's like gonna he's gonna analyze it in a completely different way.
Oh, he knows about the pile driver. He's aware. He's probably the one that did it to you. If I'm gonna be honest.
Don't give him that information. Don't give him ammunition.
It's already out in the ether. Can't stop it, man.
Right.
But Elix Skipper's in here as well, and I love it, dude. He makes his entrance, climbs the outside of the cage, and just hops over it like a full jump onto the ground in the ring.
Yes.
But that was like when he stopped being impressive in this match. But he got in the ring really cool, right?
Yeah. It's always important to make a fantastic entrance to get into the ring, regardless of the results within the match. It's all about the presentation and your entrance. Just ask Ricochet. He has a fantastic entrance. Hardly wins though.
Sin Cara, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elix, his claim to fame is the 6 sides of steel. Of course, when he walked the cage, did the Hurricane Rana on the James Storm, and hasn't really recaptured that magic. He's tried things. He's had X Division title matches, but none of them have been particularly that great. It makes me laugh because sometimes when he goes into matches, he'll like get on the top turnbuckle and like walk the top rope and then moonsault into the ring. So he's like trying to keep that thing alive, but it just never really.
It's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, that legitimately though he really is, because he's not even like, he's pretty good on the mic too, but he just never. All of his matches seem sloppy to me, I guess. And now he's in a jobber tag team with David Young and Simon Diamond. So, but yeah, so the match is good. Yeah, like it's X Division. There's like tags in the beginning, I guess, because you can't just have 8 people fighting each other at once in the cage.
You can technically.
Yeah, I mean it breaks down eventually, so I guess you can. But and I should say the rules of this match. So it's elimination style until it's the final 2, and once it gets to that point, you win by escaping the cage. So
it
Shark
all
Boy
comes back together.
It all comes together. Shark Boy gets a Canadian destroyer, as we mentioned, and that eliminates him. Shark Boy did have a pretty good. He kind of dominated in the beginning. He hit like a Russian leg sweep off the top. He did like a Stratisfaction type of bulldog off the cage on the Petey Williams, but was not enough. And then really it's at this point where everybody just kind of gets in the ring and starts fighting each other. Canadian destroyer attempt on Chase Stevens gets countered into an Alabama slam. You got Elix hitting the sudden death onto Puma, which is like an emerald flosion kind of thing. And then goddamn Chase Stevens goes to the top of the cage shooting star press onto, what was it, 5 guys? And not one person catches this motherfucker.
Which makes you question, what the fuck did Chase Stevens do to everyone?
I didn't really think of it that way, but yeah, maybe it's Chase Stevens' fault. Maybe he said something before this match that really.
Yeah, maybe he said in what's it called, like a press conference
Scrum.
Scrum. There you go. I was looking for the word. Maybe he was in the scrum eating the muffin. He was calling out the entire X division. It's like, I'm old, I'm tired.
Yeah,
I work with children. So it could have been that.
Children. But
I mean, there is a boy in the match. Shark Boy is in the match. Like,
he got eliminated. Vicente. He got pile driven on his head, and now he's Shark Boy 316. We've been through this.
Shark Boy 316. There. True.
Yeah, Chase Stevens just plummets to the mat, lands on his face, and then gets eliminated pretty soon after that. I think Elix eliminates him with the sudden death.
Mm-hmm.
And then Petey Williams comes up and rolls up Elix Skipper and eliminates him. And then Sabin hits the cradle shock onto Puma, eliminates him. So now we're just down to Petey Williams versus Chris Sabin. So now we got to escape the cage.
Escape.
Sabin hits a hesitation drop kick in the corner. And then he goes to climb out. But Scott D'Amore, the manager of Team Canada, out there with Petey Williams, grabs Sabin to stop his descent. Petey catches up to him. And Sabin and Petey are kind of fighting outside of the cage, midway down. Sabin smashes Petey's head on the cage. Petey falls, but lands on Scott D'Amore's shoulders. And this allows Sabin to hit the ground first. So Chris Sabin gets the win.
God damn it.
What a finish. What'd you think? What'd you think of how it culminated into this, all the shenanigans at the end there?
I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Yeah. Once Puma got eliminated, you were checked out, right?
Once Shark Boy and Puma got eliminated, I was kind of checked out. And then, so I've never been a fan of Chris Sabin. I'm gonna just state that right now. I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler, because he's a good wrestler. Obviously, he's a good wrestler. He's part of the Motor City Machine Guns. He's a fantastic wrestler. But I've never been a fan of his. Something about his face just makes it. He just looks very punchable, and he seems very unlikable to me. So I just never personally liked him. Plus, I was rooting for Canada in this because once again, everyone versus America apparently.
Apparently.
I'm a fan of Petey Williams, like I said. I'm a fan of most Pete's. Peter Parker. Most Pete's. Peter Griffin.
Pete Dunne.
Peter Dunne. Peter Dune. Yeah, just so I wanted to support all the Pete's out there.
Stinky Pete, wasn't that the Toy Story villain?
Stinky Pete.
Yeah.
Stinky Pete. But he had been through a lot at that point. So I sympathize with him. He probably had PTSD.
Well, this is for our spin-off Toy Story review podcast. So
yeah, we gotta keep that hush hush.
That's behind the paywall. We can't just give away free content.
Exactly.
People, come on.
Exactly. Yeah, I take my shirt off in that one. So
yes. That's worth the price of admission right there.
There you go.
Well, a couple other guys with their shirts off. We got the X Division title on the line in this next match. We got Samoa Joe versus Sabu. Hoo-wee. So Samoa Joe here, the champion. So he lost the title actually at the last pay-per-view in an Ultimate X match. So he technically wasn't beaten. So they're still going on the thing where he's 10 months undefeated. Samoa Joe is. He recaptured the X Division title on Impact by beating Christopher Daniels. And Larry Zbyszko's like, you know what, Joe? I don't want you pigeonholed in the X Division. I want to give you something that allows you to go beyond that. So who does he get? The suicidal, all that shit. Sabu. And man, what a seeing Sabu get ragdolled by Samoa Joe is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, fantastic. like I said, it was the first thing out. I'm like, oh, Sabu versus Samoa Joe. Joe's gonna beat the shit out of Sabu.
This is peak Joe here, man. What do you think about 2006 Samoa Joe?
Oh, man, that's a good looking Samoan right there. And I thought Roman Reigns was a good looking Samoan.
The
And
necklace.
imagine this Joe right now. Ooh,
God, man, I wish.
that was probably like at his athletic peak, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I think all around peak almost around this time, maybe a little bit later, but goddamn, yeah. And Sabu's actually really good too, because he pops up in TNA quite a few times in this time period, and he has very little misses. Like he had a really awesome feud with Abyss. They had some brutal matches. They had a barbed wire match that was sick. Couple good couple regular matches that were pretty good. So Sabu, not the classic botchy Sabu that I feel like everybody associates him with. He's really good here, and this match with Joe, I mean,
wasn't this like right after like he had his match with like his series of matches with like John Cena, Rey Mysterio, and his run with WWE, right?
ooh,
Like
I think this is right before.
Right before, because I think One Night Stand was in 05, wasn't it? And I know that's when he had his match with Mysterio that ended in no contest.
The first One Night Stand was in 05, but the second One Night Stand is when Sabu and Rey Mysterio had their match, which was like summer of 06. So very soon after this, actually. That's a good point.
He's still like very good, because I remember he actually challenged John Cena for the WWE title, and they had a pretty solid match. I think it was on Raw that had their match. Mm-hmm. So this is still like not in his prime, but he's still like at his like athletic peak. Like he's still pretty good in the ring. It's not until he goes bald that I feel like he starts getting really bad. I feel like the power was in his hair, just like Willow Smith. Yeah.
I never thought Sabu and Willow Smith were gonna get compared, but here we are.
Yeah, here we 2022, man. Anything's possible.
Sabu's whipping his hair back and forth in this one. That's for sure.
He was whipping a steel chair at Joe's face too.
Dude, that was hilarious. I love the story of this match and how Sabu's like almost desperate. Like he knows he's not in Joe's league physically. And Sabu even walks into this match with a broken fucking arm, which the commentary just casually mentioned. He has like this big ass cast that's like on his forearm. I guess he had just broken his arm wrestling somewhere like in Mexico or something.
I thought he was just a very big Cowboy Bob Orton fan, and he just wanted to like rock the cast.
Sabu, big Bob Orton guy. Little known fact. But yeah, man. So yeah, like you said, Sabu goes in the ring first. Samoa Joe enters the ring, and Sabu just right away just tosses a chair at Joe. But I think Joe ducks, or he like swipes it away or something, and just starts kicking the shit out of Sabu. Kicks, chops, throwing him against the cage. Sabu's busted open within like the first 30 seconds. But Sabu fights back with Arabian leg drops with the chair, does like the triple jump leg drops, like he runs off the chair onto the top rope and then springboards backwards into leg drops. And then he brings out a spike. Sabu does. Tries to murder Samoa Joe. He's like, oh, these leg drops aren't cutting it. Better stab him to death. So, because for the X Division title, you see, so it's very worth it.
Yeah, prestigious.
No, officer, I promise you, it was a wrestling match. And so Joe and Sabu are fighting on the top rope at some point. Joe, by the way, should mention, fights away the spike. He does not get stabbed to death. He counters into an armbar, which is how anybody should counter a shank or a knife or anything phallic.
That's how sharp. That's what I usually do when I get like like threatened with a shank or anything. I usually just put them in an armbar. Yeah, no, you hit them with a Kimura of sorts, maybe a triangle, a Hell's Gate. Hell's Gate. You lock them in there and they're done, right? A guillotine. Yes. Yes. Armbar into the guillotine, and then I transition to the label lock. Man, as I'm like yesing on the got ground. Our pure champion over here. Yeah. So Joe's like smashing Sabu's arm against the cage. He hits a cutter off the top rope on the Sabu for a 2 count. And then Samoan cutter is, I think that's what Mike Tenay said. Yes. Just throw anything in front of cutter, and that's what it is. Sabu goes for the triple jump moonsault, but as he's on the top rope,
Smo Joe, how the turns have tabled, throws a chair at Sabu's face. Muscle Buster, 1, 2, 3. Smo Joe wins, retains the title. And yeah, I enjoyed this for what it was. What about you?
Oh, like I said, it was the first match I watched. Because I watched things out of order.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. Like it was good to see Samoa Joe in his like absolute peak, and it was good to see Sabu out here trying to like commit vehicular manslaughter. Or no, that's with a car.
I mean, he's a vehicle of sorts.
He's a vehicle destruction.
Whoa. Oh, you just pulled that out of your ass. That was pretty sweet.
Sometimes you have to, like with shanking and stuff like that. You gotta hide these things somewhere. Like we're
What
talking
about
about
Shanky? Was Shanky in this match?
Shanky, yes, he was on the outside, like doing the Teddy Long, like holla holla.
Oh, I must
Because he wasn't blocked, that's why. So like he was dancing. He was
Oh. Again, I have so many things to go revisit in this show. But one thing I will not be watching again is the National Anthem Steel Cage match. So we got Team 3D versus Team Canada, and we got a debuting Brother Runt on the Team 3D side, aka Spike Dudley. Yeah, wow, look at this. Look at the cohesion. Look at how this show flows and how I'm flowing and the fluids down my legs. So we got Team 3D. So we kind of went over the backstory earlier. Canada, evil. Which, by the way, what is Canada? Like, why does everybody in the USA hate Canada? I feel like
because they put maple syrup on their French fries. What kind of
them do it? Okay, I'm in agreement. We all are. Poutine sucks a big bag of flaccid baby cocks. It's not tasty at all. But let them have their fun up there. Laissez-faire, hands off, right?
I guess. I suppose.
And so poutine, I think, is actually the main backstory of this match.
Do you think it's a confusion? They think that they're actually talking about Vladimir Putin instead of like the food Putin. So maybe that's where the hatred comes from. They're like, oh, they glorify this Putin guy. They must be evil. So maybe it's a miscommunication, like a loss of translation.
They're like, man, we got these soggy French fries covered in stupid gravy setting off these nuclear missiles. What the hell's going on here, right? Yeah, they're probably really confused up there.
Yeah. And, Americans, when they don't understand something, they lash out. So it all makes sense.
Including the Dudleys. I'm sorry, Team 3D here. So the match, the stipulation of it. Can you explain the stipulation of this match?
So essentially, if I'm not mistaken, the winner gets their national anthem played at the end, which is a sense of pride.
High stakes. Yeah. So so on each side of the cage, there's a flag. There's a USA flag and a Canadian flag. You gotta capture your flag and then bring it to your side and put it in the thing and hang it, and then national anthems play. And
what if they did like flag football game and they were on the field and then they had to capture their country's flag instead of actually wrestling inside a cage?
So it was like a stadium stampede kind of thing.
Stadium stampede inside a cage. Now that would have taken it to the next level.
So instead of wrestling moves, instead of punching and kicking, you just want them to chase each other. You want them to, no, it's not tackle. It's flag football.
Yes.
So you want them just run around and grab their flags.
Yes, I want them to run around like a dog chasing his own tail.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Right. I could see Bubba doing that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately.
Yeah.
We just have a wrestling match here, I guess. No, now my expectations are blown out. So now I just got to settle for this shit.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Here.
Unfortunately. What's funny is that Devon tries to like wave the flag and it's like stuck together and it's not waving.
Oh. Was this when the ref was down?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
My god, the shenanigans in this match. You can't just have a fucking match when the guy wins a thing. No, you have to have. So America, I think it was Devon, right? He grabs the flag. And but the ref is down. I didn't even see when this ref got knocked out, but they pan over to him and he's face down on the mat. So the ref can't call it. So Canada beats on Devon. They take the flag. They hang it back up. And then the ref comes to. And he's like, oh, I didn't see anything. It's a lot of chaos.
Maybe he got bored halfway through the match and said, I'm just going to take a nap real quick.
He just took a little snooze ski.
Oh,
yeah. It's been a long night.
Yeah.
Can't
So many
blame him.
cage matches, man.
Yeah. You get desensitized to it and you have to take a break.
You get exhausted.
Fucking, what's his, what was the ref? Ray Charles or something? Not Ray Charles. That's a singer. It was like something
It could
close
be
to
Ray
that.
Charles.
It was Charles something. It wasn't Charles Robinson, but it was, I don't know, it might have been Earl Hebner for all I know. But
Brian Hebner.
at one point, Scott D'Amore hits the security guard with a chair that has the key to the cage. So Scott D'Amore steals the key, unlocks the door, slides in a table, because you can't have a Team 3D match without a table involved.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Young tries to hit an elbow drop onto Spike through the table. But, I'm sorry, Brother Runt gets out of the way, and Runt hits the acid drop onto A1. And then Devon and Bubba hit the 3D onto Bobby Roode. And then Runt captures the flag. This time, the ref is conscious. So Team USA wins. And then we get this shitty bullshit, like Jimmy Hart remix of the national anthem playing. So
Because it has to be cool. Because the anthem isn't cool enough.
It's
for
a new
brother.
wave, man.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I think I'm just disappointed at the fact that Devon wasn't the one that got the table.
Yeah, who did? Well, I guess Scott did, right?
Scott
D'Amore
D'Amore
got the table.
got the table.
Just another reason to hate Canada, I guess, right?
Yeah. They really were pushing this anti-Canada narrative on the show.
It's like, what did they do? Like, what? Why
They
do we hate
put
them?
gravy on their fries.
Ah, fuck, I forgot. Yeah, they are assholes. And the stupid ketchup flavored Ruffles, or whatever they're called.
Have you been to Canada?
I've been to Niagara Falls, so kinda.
So you've been on the border of Canada.
Yeah, I hopped the border.
You hopped. So you are Latino adjacent.
Yeah, you know.
It's in our blood.
Have you been to Canada?
I have not. It's on my bucket list.
People smell up there. I don't know if it's just Niagara Falls, maybe just the place.
Well, there's a lot of tourism for Niagara Falls. So it might not just be Canadians. It might just be tourists.
Well, it's mainly the French-speaking people. So,
Well, I will say that I worked at this bar, and the owner of the bar was this French dude, and he always had this musk to him, where I didn't want to like be rude and just like hold my nose, but I was holding my breath a lot. I was like,
I don't think they believe in deodorant.
I don't think
over
so.
there.
I think it's like a natural musk, which makes me not want to go to France. But maybe I could just go to a side of Canada that doesn't have a lot of French influence.
Yeah, I think that's Toronto, maybe.
Yes, Toronto.
Yeah,
I'll go to Toronto. They have the Raptors there. They have basketball.
Yeah, they have Blue Jays, right? The
I don't sports ball that much except for basketball.
I was trying to think of wrestlers that are from Toronto. Trish Stratus, is that where
Trish
she's from?
Stratus, Edge.
Man. Well, actually, speaking of Trish Stratus, we have her WrestleMania 21 opponent here making her debut, Christy Hemme.
Yes.
They have her debut by skipping to the ring because she's an empty-headed woman, you know, and gives an envelope to Mike Tenay.
Yes.
And this envelope has a letter. Basically, it's from the new face of TNA management. And as of this point, Larry Zbyszko is kind of the head, the GM of sorts, the commissioner. I think his title is like the committee of anal or something. I don't know. But apparently there's going to be a new management person in town. I believe it's Jim Cornette. I know at one point he comes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's at this point, if that's who he is at this point. But
So we don't know when Jim Cornette comes.
well, we know what makes him come is a good cuck. So
Yeah.
most times probably mid ejaculation. So
Is Larry Zbyszko a cock? Is the question.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I'm not saying that he is, But if somebody told me like Larry Zbyszko likes to watch his wife get railed in front of him, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
It adds up. Yeah.
Yeah. But Larry Zbyszko, a few months ago, he fired Raven. Him and Larry and Raven, they had this whole feud where Larry basically cost Raven the title, and Raven was pissed at him, and then Larry was putting them in matches where if he lost, he had to retire, and then eventually Raven got beat, and then Larry fired him. But now this new face of management is like, hey, that was a wrongful termination. I'm going to reinstate Raven. And that's what the letter says. So Raven comes out, chases Larry around the cage. Larry gets in the cage, closes the door, and hides. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, thoughts on old Raven here?
I was disappointed he didn't have his flock with him.
Well, he's about to have a faction. I think it's called like Serotonin or something. I forget who's in it.
Serotonin.
Yeah,
wasn't CM Punk and like Mickey James at one point part of his like faction?
Yeah, I think that was early TNA, like 2002, 2003.
Oh, okay. So this is a new faction.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It's a less good one. But
does he bring Beast Boy and Cyborg along with him?
I'll continue to watch, and if he does, I'll report back to you.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah,
keep me posted.
I will. You know me.
Slide into those DMs late at night if you have to.
You know I do. Well, we got up next. We got the NWA World Title on the line, where we got Christian Cage defending against Abyss, the monster. You're a big Christian fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I like Christian.
What did you think of his TNA run here as champion?
I felt like it was a little underwhelming at some point because even though he was being booked as like the top guy, as the world champion, he always just kind of felt as like, what's the word I'm looking for? He never really had like that main event vibe to him. To me, he just kind of felt like a guy, kind of like when JBL held the title, or like I'm having a hard time like coming up with like examples, or like when Rey Mysterio held the title. Or like, okay, when Big E was WWE champion while Roman Reigns was Universal champion, there was obviously two like different levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really felt like Big E was on the level of a Roman Reigns. Like, even though Christian was a world champion, he never felt as like this big star like when Kurt Angle was champion, or when AJ Styles or Joe was champ. So... but he got there. I feel like he never really hit that peak until he got to like, he returned to WWE, and he felt like a big guy. Like, unfortunately, he's always been in the shadow of Edge, you know?
Yeah, I think as a heel, Christian felt more of a big deal.
And he's
champion.
a babyface in this current juncture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. It never hits as a babyface. He's one of those guys that just should always be a chicken shit heel.
And he eventually gets there. I don't think it's actually too long. I mean, he has like AJ Styles and Tyson Tomko and his like little entourage, and that's like peak Christian in TNA as far as I'm concerned. I think he had a pretty good run at some point, but
this is after this, right? This is like he goes into that. Okay, yeah.
Christian's still pretty new to TNA. He debuted at the end of 2005, and we're in March of 2006. So Christian, he won the title pretty much immediately. He won it at Final Resolution, I believe, in January.
Mm-hmm.
He defended it against Monty Brown at the last pay-per-view, and now he's facing off against Abyss. And you might be asking, well, what's the backstory here? Well, Abyss stalked Christian's wife at the tanning salon. James Mitchell, it's Abyss didn't. I guess James Mitchell did, and sniffed her hair and told her to tell her husband that we're going to see him soon. And then Abyss and James Mitchell go to Christian's home in Tampa, Florida, beat him all around his living room and his kitchen, throw Christian in his pool, and they try to drown Christian in his own pool. But in the words of James Mitchell, you can't win a title from a dead man. So they don't kill him, but they ruffle his feathers a little bit. And so now we have this match. What'd you think of that whole backstory? I think they showed like a video package. I don't know how much of it you caught, but
I was not paying attention to the video package.
How dare you?
Because I don't remember what the fuck I was doing when I was watching it. Because
You were getting another Heater, weren't you?
No. So I watched the show a total of like 2.5 times. So I had it like playing in the background while I was at work because I was working. I was doing some overnight shifts, and then I was just like, so I had it playing in the background. And then the second time I watched it, I watched like actually like sat there and like watched everything in detail. And but I skipped the video package because I kind of already knew they were fighting and I didn't really care. I just knew that they were gonna fight.
You need the backstory of James Mitchell sniffing Christian's wife's hair. Okay,
maybe that's why I didn't enjoy the match as much as I should have. It's like I didn't have the backstory. I didn't have the hair sniffing from James Mitchell.
Go
it
back,
ruined it. Yeah,
rewatch it with that context. That'll add at least another star.
It'll enhance the match.
Yes, absolutely. But that being said, this might be my match of the night here. Christian versus Abyss. I thought it was up there at least. I thought they really used the cage in this match more so, I feel like, than in previous matches with Abyss power bombing Christian into the cage, rubbing his face against the walls. Christian's, I don't even know if he bled really until the end of it, but before they even got in the cage, they like Christian met Abyss on the ramp. They brawled outside the cage and the crowd. But once they got in the cage, Abyss hits Christian with the door and then throws him in the ring and then dominates him for a bit. At one point, the ref gets obliterated by Abyss. Like Christian ducks a clothesline and Abyss just shits. These refs are taking a pounding on this show.
Yeah, it's a hard job.
It is a thankless job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's like a little hole in the cage, which is like for the cameras. But James Mitchell uses this hole to throw in the belt to Abyss. Abyss goes to hit Christian with it, but misses. Christian hits the unprettier, but only for 2. And this causes Christian to reach into his bag of tricks, climbs to the top rope. Frog splash from the top of the cage. Wow. That was some good stuff, right?
It was good, but was it really a frog splash? I didn't really see him do much of like the frog theatrics, you know.
What kind of splash was it?
It looked like a Christian splash.
I thought you were going to come up with like another animal, like a platypus splash or something.
Platypus splash. Sloth splash.
Sloth splash. Yeah, if you threw a sloth off of a cage, that's probably the motion it would.
Yeah, it was like he looked like he wanted to do the frog splash theatrics, but he was like,
it's like, wait a minute, I'm 30 feet above the ground. I need to just not die on this.
Yeah. So sloth splash is what we're calling it.
Yeah. I think that works. But as if this brutality isn't enough, Sabu or James Mitchell, I guess.
Sabu. Did
I say Sabu? I get Abyss and Sabu and James Mitchell mixed up.
They're also very similar.
Sabu pops out of nowhere.
Because he didn't get enough from Joe.
Yeah.
He wanted more punishment.
Can't stop him. He's suicidal.
Genocidal.
Homicidal. So we got thumbtacks introduced by James Mitchell, not Sabu.
Through that glory hole again.
Through the glory hole. Yes. Swerving our glory hole. Abyss lays out the tacks ever so gently and goes to choke slam Christian onto it, but he fights out and Christian hits something. I think he hits like a DDT or something. Knocks Abyss down again and climbs up to the top to go for another frog splash, but Abyss gets up in time. Abyss actually choke slams the ref into the cage.
This is my favorite spot of the match. This is my favorite spot of the match. I thought I was fucking hilarious. He's like, fuck your ref.
I was so confused at first. Like, what the hell is he being so aggressive with the ref for? But he's merely an object to knock Christian off the cage.
The storytelling, man, like that's creativity. That lets you know that Abyss is not just a force of nature, not just a destructive monster. He's a creative genius.
He is. I mean, no shit. He's fucking brilliant here.
Yeah.
But he climbs up to try to grab Christian, who's like straddling the top of the cage. And but Christian ends up countering it and hits a sunset flip power bomb onto Abyss, onto the bed of tacks, but only for a 2 count somehow. Christian then grabs the NWA title, goes to hit Abyss with it, but Abyss counters into a black hole slam again for a 2 count. That was a really good false finish there. I knew Abyss didn't win this, but I was like, oh shit, he's gonna win it.
See, I didn't knew, so I didn't look. So I looked at the match card, but I didn't look up the results. I was very good of trying to like avoid the results, and I could not remember if Abyss ever won the NWA title. So like that was a great false finish for me because I thought he had the match won right there.
Yeah, actually, I was like 99.9% sure he had never won the world title, but that 0.1%, I was like, oh.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
And choking happens. So Abyss tries to choke slam Christian onto the tacks again. I just wrote choke in my notes. I was like, I was trying to figure out what I meant by it. But choke slam onto the tacks, but Christian counters it into an unprettier onto the tacks, and that gives Christian the win. Brutal finish. Mm-hmm. Fun match, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on it?
I just have one question. One flaw.
3 inches flaccid, 2 inches erect.
Okay. I have a second question then.
Okay. I got you.
Wasn't this like, couldn't Christian have won just by escaping the cage?
I don't think escape the cage was a winning condition.
Yeah, because that was the one thing when I watched the match, and I didn't really feel like starting it from the beginning to like try to like get the information needed. Because when he was hanging from the cage on the outside after the Abyss chokeslammed the ref into it, I was like, motherfucker, just fall to the floor. Just fall to the floor. You win right there and escape this monstrosity with Abyss. Unless you have a kink for pain, in which case, by all means, get in there, get some more.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an escape match, according to the card that I saw, so.
Should have been. It would have made things easier for Christian.
It really would have. But nonetheless, Christian gets the win eventually. But my boy Christian gets greedy and tries to attack James Mitchell after the match. But Abyss is back up, attacks Christian from behind, and Abyss grabs his big chain that he comes out with, wraps it around his fist, and clocks Christian with it, busts him open, and then hangs Christian with it, wraps it around Christian's throat, throws him over the top rope, and hangs him. So, yeah.
I mean, it was a cool visual. Like, as I've gotten older, I've like been more desensitized, or I'm not sure what the verbiage here is, but I've not been a fan of like gory style matches, like hardcore extreme matches or like death matches, just because it's like, God, you're gonna feel that in the morning tomorrow. Your knees are gonna hurt. Like I like, as a 30-year-old man that I just recently became, like, the older I get, like the more I'm just like, man, I can't do all that. That hurt me watching it. But it was a great visual. It was a good way to have Abyss get his heat back. So I liked it. It was a good way, and you got to see Christian get choked out. And, you know, like, if you're into that sort of thing, that was the highlight of the match.
Your kinks are satisfied.
Yeah, the juices of your guilty pleasures have been titillated.
Oh, hello! I'm titillated.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
Sure.
Abyss titillated everyone.
Well, doesn't he always? He's a monster after all.
Exactly, that's true.
But that brings us to the main event. Lethal Lockdown. It's an 8-man tag team match. It's essentially War Games. What are your thoughts on Lethal Lockdown versus War Games? Do you have a preference?
I think just for the aesthetic and the visual of 2 rings being encompassed by a steel cage is just so different that it makes it feel much more intriguing to me and much more appealing. Also, it doesn't help that the Lethal Lockdown cage is the same fucking cage we saw all fucking pay-per-view.
It has a roof.
At a certain point, it has a roof.
Well,
but
that's when
it
it becomes lethal.
Jay Lethal.
There's no Jay Lethal in this match.
Jay Lethal lowers the cage down, and he's like doing a little Irish jig on the top.
Was that opening match a Lethal Lockdown as well? Because Jay Lethal was in it.
Yeah. It was a Jay Lethal lockdown match.
Nice. I like it. But yeah, I'm with you. The aesthetic of War Games is cool. I thought well, I guess I'll lay out who's in this match. So we got AJ Styles, Rhino, Ron Killings, and Sting versus the team of America's Most Wanted, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Steiner, making his in-ring TNA debut in this match.
Big Papa Pump.
Big Bad Booty Daddy. And AJ Styles and Chris Harris start out. Not a lot really happening until the lethal aspect of it. Any portions of it, before that catch your eye?
Not really. It just, like I said, you get a little desensitized and you get a little kind of how we're already seeing the steel cage. Like I will say this, the lethal lockdown concept I enjoy, because it's essentially War Games, like you were mentioning. But let's say they didn't do a steel cage match or like a 6 sides of steel the entire night. This would have felt more impactful because, God damn it, you had an arm wrestling match inside the 6 sides of steel. How much more meaning could this match have?
You blew your load on the arm wrestling match.
Yeah, you blew your load. Bullet Bob Armstrong, man. How do you? It's only downhill from there.
He should have been in this match. Is what you're saying.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you.
He would have made it more lethal with those bullet punches.
Yeah, I was about to say bullets in his name. So it's right in front of you. But yeah, AJ, Chris Harris start out. James Storm comes in. They kind of gang up on Styles. And there's a point where before James Storm enters the ring, AJ kicks the door open. James Storm ducks it. And this door just completely wipes out Gail Kim, who is ringside. I don't know if you saw this, but she took a hilarious Family Guy style bump when she got hit by this cage door.
They treated her like she was Meg from Family Guy.
Dude, she was going out there. She's like, women don't wrestle in TNA nowadays, but man, I'm gonna go out and take some bumps. You gotta love her.
And then she got stripped by Miss Jackie.
She got pantsed.
She got pants. That's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of it.
Even though she was already climbing the cage and the camera was right up her skirt, so it was like, okay, is it really worse? But
that's true.
But that's later. That's later in the match. And
sorry. I'm blowing my load again.
Again, you're just blowing it all over the place.
It's because I blow it. So if you blow your load early, that just allows you to blow your load once again quicker. The sooner you come, the sooner you're able to come again.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
It's not about the number of orgasms, not how big the orgasm is.
It doesn't matter how fast you get there. It doesn't matter what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
Yeah, it's the climb. It's how many times you take that journey to climax.
Yeah, man. What a journey! What a journey!
Someone start playing Journey songs.
Oh well. Speaking of Journey, we got Rhino. Sprinting to the ring, Rex AMW, and then goes for a gore, but then misses. And
it's not a spear, by the way.
We don't have an hour to discuss this. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna completely ignore it. And they've been chomping at the bit, but that's the after party. Okay,
that's the post show.
Yes, the post show. Jeff Jarrett comes in. R-Truth goes in. Scott Steiner, Sting. Sting gets in there and just does a shitty little Sting forearms and just wrecks everybody. Not even a bat, just kind of kish, kish, kish. It even hits the Stinger splash on all 4 guys at once. Like he has AMW smashed against each other, and then he puts Jeff Jarrett upside down on top of him, and then he throws Scott Steiner on top of him, and then hits the Stinger splash on all of them. He
took 4 guys on at once.
Yeah, what a trooper! What a trooper!
That's some skill right there.
And then Sting calls for the roof to be lowered, and then you have all this pyro from this roof lowering from the ceiling. You got the light show. I thought the presentation of this was awesome.
Oh yeah, like thankfully it didn't like have like sparklers like AEW had. With
This was more of an explosion than that was. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Then the roof lowers. Then there's like a whole ass TLC match on the roof. So it's like, what are we planning for here?
Multitasking.
Yeah. And like inside the ring from the ceiling, there's like trash cans and kendo sticks and baseball bats and gas powered dildos and all the normal weapons that you see in a wrestling match. James Storm sees all this stuff. He's like, I gotta get the heck out of here. And then there's like a little hole in the roof that you can climb through, I guess. Climbs to the roof. AJ Styles follows him. So I was like, oh shit, my dick. What's gonna happen here?
Right.
And this is the point where Gail Kim tries to climb to help James Storm, I guess, but Jackie rips her skirt off, and then they're pretty much gone for the rest of the match. But
they
on the
failed
roof,
their purpose.
they did. That's what they're there for. It was women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Women's wrestling. Storm hits a super kick onto AJ on the roof, sets up a table on the roof, but AJ hits him with the Pele, and then AJ sets up a ladder. Puts James Storm on this table. This is all happening on the roof. AJ climbs the ladder. It's a pretty big ladder, too. He's got to be, I mean, when you factor in the ladder and the cage, it's probably like 30, 40 feet off the ground at least.
Yeah, I'd be shitting bricks.
Dude, I was shitting bricks just watching this. And AJ grabs like the truss that's literally on the ceiling of the arena, monkey bars his way over the table where James Storm is set up. Let's go, and hits a splash onto James Storm. Whew, that was a crazy spot. That was probably the spot of the match.
That reminded me of like that John Morrison spot in Elimination Chamber where he did something similar to it. Yeah, I wonder if this is where he got the inspiration from.
Possibly. I think AJ did this actually in a later Lethal Lockdown match, and I thought at that point that was the first time he did it, but I guess it was here. I had no idea he did it so early.
Young boy AJ, man, was Daredevil.
Fresh.
He was really trying some shit.
He was going out there, man.
Yeah, he was experimenting with his wrestling theatrics.
Very phenomenal, some may say.
Yeah, some may say.
But so AJ and James Storm, they're both dead. Everybody else continues to fight in the ring. Jarrett hits the stroke onto R-Truth, onto a chair. Rhino hits Jarrett with the gore. Steiner takes out Rhino with a suplex. Then Sting hits Scott Steiner with the Scorpion Death Drop. And then Chris Harris hits Sting with handcuffs that are wrapped around his hand. And then Chris Harris tries to lock in the Scorpion Deathlock onto Sting, but Sting reverses into his own Scorpion Deathlock, and Harris taps out. So Sting's Warriors, as their team's name was, gets the win in a fun match. But to your point, a bit desensitized to the cage at this point.
Yes, for sure. My big question here is, did Chris Harris really go for the Scorpion Deathlock, or was he going for the sharpshooter?
That's actually, if he would have put on the Scorpion, he might have gotten... No, actually, if he would have used the sharpshooter, Sting would have had no idea how to get out of it because he doesn't know anything about
completely different maneuver. The question is, was he wrapping it around his left leg or his right leg? So you have to really go back and study the tape and like analyze it side to side with the Sting Scorpion Deathlock and Bret Hart's sharpshooter.
We're really gonna John Madden this stuff. Really,
it's gonna be a real dissection of the move.
Yes.
Stay tuned for
that's what people want. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Shirtless Vince, dissecting of sharpshooters, and conversations about Spears versus Cores. It's all here. Yeah. It's all here.
Man, what else do you want? People, come on now.
Yeah, exactly. More you suck coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Can never get enough. Get enough.
All the caffeine.
But but I don't think this show sucked.
No.
Anyways, but Lockdown. Yeah, any other overall thoughts on the show? Anything we missed?
No, it was a great show. Like my whole nitpick throughout the whole thing, I feel like I'm an old man shaking his fist at the clouds, at the sky, saying like, God damn it, there's too many cage matches, these darn kids. But no, man, it was a great show. It was fantastic. And what I loved is that like so many of these wrestlers I already know, and
Yeah.
to me it brought me back to like that PS2 TNA Impact Wrestling game where because
Was it on the PS2?
well, it was on the PS2. Yeah, I remember it was on the PS2. I think it might have been on PS3 as well, but I played it on PS2 because I wasn't able to afford a PS3 at that time. I was not starting my financial like pursuits just yet.
Right.
So,
Of course.
but I played with that one. Yeah. So like, it was a great show. Like it was good to see like a younger AJ Styles, a young Samoa Joe in his athletic peak. Christian, one of my favorite wrestlers in my top 10. James Storm drinking a beer, and you saw blonde Eric Young, man. Like, what is there not to love?
Blonde, no tattoos, fresh-faced Eric Young. What
Yeah,
more could he ask for, really? And I mean, yeah, lots of talented, lots of people early in their careers, some physical peak.
Yes, exactly.
Some may say they're raw forms, you know, getting smacked around in there, and that's some straight talk for you. But speaking of which, thank you, Vicente, once again for checking out the show 3 or 4 times, however many times you watched it, and coming on and talking about it. Where can everybody find you and all your various shows?
Yes, because apparently, yeah, I actually do have a few shows, huh? You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SCSVince. The link tree in my bio. If you click on it, it will give you all the audio formats for the Straight Talk podcast, where at this point it's mostly basketball with like a little sprinkle of wrestling here and there, where we do fantasy booking. We did like a women's tag team tournament with Katie Kinsey Bebe. So she was on there. We talked basketball. So if you like having like 2 Chicago guys to talk about basketball.
The tag team tournament or something we did on your show?
Yeah. We have the March Madness tag team tournament that you were a guest on.
Yes.
Last minute too. I hit you up like last minute the day of, and you're like, yeah, I'll hop on there.
Darn
like,
tootin'.
Yeah, you know, you were answering the call. You were taking the hot tag, and you did
That's
that.
what I'm here for.
I also do Spit or Swallow, which is like the pay-per-view recap for the Smackin' Raw podcast. It's my own little like subsection. Like it's my AW Rampage, but it actually gets views. I won't be covering Crown Jewel just because I never watched the shows for personal reasons. We don't have to get into it, but I will definitely be covering Extreme Rules. So stay tuned for that. And you can find me every Friday night at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Smackin' Raw podcast with the Ward and Matt Ritter, covering the week of wrestling as only we can, as the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub.
Beautiful. Yeah, you do a lot of good work over there, Vince. I'm a big smacking it roller, big straight talker.
Yeah.
Not a big basketball guy, but you know, I'll turn it on and just look at your pretty face sometimes, and
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
just kind of.
It's the sole
Your
reason.
emotion.
If nothing less, you at least get me, and then you occasionally get Justin. So you get some Filipino love, and you get some Filipino and some Mexican action. Like, so you get a little bit of the best of both worlds, you know.
Whatever it is, it's gonna taste great when you have those together, right?
Oh, fantastic combination. That's why me and Justin mesh so perfectly well together.
It's because you taste each other.
Yes, the taste of Chicago, actually.
Oh, so you're a deep dish. There's like an asshole joke I can make. Deep dish. Give me a second. Yeah, like Abyss was in this show. Speaking of Abyss, your asshole's deep dish, right?
Yeah.
It's under the sauce.
All under the sauce, man. But no, you know, we're more of a thin crust. It's traditional style.
You have a thin crust?
That's actually Chicago style. So, like, I'll send you a picture of traditional Chicago style pizza because the misconception is that deep dish is Chicago style, and that's just mostly special occasion pizza. Traditional pizza is like thin crust, but it's cut up in squares.
Oh, so it's like cafeteria pizza.
When you say it like that, well, I will say the rectangular cafeteria pizza went hard back in middle school and elementary school.
I was all about the chicken sandwiches myself.
Spicy chicken sandwich with the chocolate milk.
Oh, come on, man. I don't know what school you went to. We just had regular old chicken.
No, I had spicy chicken, man. We had the option of regular chicken and spicy.
The only thing spicy was me getting whipped with a ruler.
So you weren't getting lashed.
My daddy ass.
By daddy ass. Yeah.
I don't know how to finish podcasts sometimes.
Me either, man. Sometimes I just like just ramble on until I decide, okay, I'm done.
Once again, thank you to Vicente for joining me on today's program. Go follow Vince at SCS Vince on all the socials. Check out Smackin' Raw. Check out Straight Talk and Spit or Swallow. Go do that. All that info in the description below. Check out all my full episodes. Go back into the archives. Apronbump.com. Follow me on all the social media. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Oh my goodness. Why don't you give a Jeff Jarrett guitar shot to that subscribe button? Am I fucking done plugging my asshole? Probably not. But I am for now. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you all. So does Rock. Thank you guys for listening. Big smooches. Big smooches, small smooches, medium smooches, all around. You want to say goodbye to the people, Rock? Come here. Come here. What you got to say to the people? Okay, it's weird to say I'm hard with a cat in my lap. I feel like that
Yeah.
I'm hard.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess.